I want to start with a simple, blunt question. The National Crime Records Bureau data says there were 90 rapes each day in 2021 in India, one every 16 minutes in 2022, and 4 every hour in 2023. As a result, a Thomson Reuters study says India is the most dangerous country in the world for women. Why is this happening? What's wrong with Indian men?
Women are not considered as persons. Therefore, they are available for whatever. And I think now with technology and social media, there is a collective voyeurism and a consumption of violence and even forensic evidence as pornography taking place.
We as a society, we as a people have a very cavalier attitude to molestation and rape. It doesn't seem to really worry us. It may momentarily shock us and lead to anger, but by and large, society accepts and moves on.
Absolutely. And that is precisely why we are not able to even diminish the problem, forget eliminate it in our midst, because we think men are entitled. You asked, where does this come from? And I said, it's bred in the home. Men are entitled to anything and everything that they desire and wish, momentarily, to use, abuse, discard. And that is what the boy is taught in the house, what the man does in the house.
Is it the way we bring up our sons that actually is the core of the problem?
It's the way we bring up our sons. It's the way everybody in the house, including the women, learn about subordination, learn about discrimination. It's about inequality, whether it is equality in terms of giving access of opportunities or to decide who you will marry or not marry, or giving rights in property. We are not treating women as equals in our homes. Discrimination is learned in the home. Inequality is learned in the home. We have to unlearn it. Violence has its roots over there.
Hello and welcome to a special interview for The Wire. If there's one subject that's dominating the news at the moment, but in fact for the last 10 years has been a major focus of attention, it's the molestation and rape of women in India. Official records state that almost 100 rapes happen every single day. Grandmothers of 90 and babies of just 3 months have been victims. Drunk sons have even raped their mothers. The facts are more than shocking. They reveal the full extent of a horrifying problem that's crying out for attention. So today we ask, what's wrong with Indian men? Joining me to answer that question is the highly regarded Supreme Court lawyer and nationally acclaimed defender of women's rights, Vrinda Grover. Vrinda Grover, I want to start with a simple, blunt question. The National Crime Records Bureau data says there were 90 rapes each day in 2021 in India, one every 16 minutes in 2022, and 4 every hour in 2023. As a result, a Thomson Reuters study says India is the most dangerous country in the world for women. Why is this happening? What's wrong with Indian men?
I think the question is, what's wrong with our societal culture, and which is breeding this kind of violence against women? And I think the answers will lie in complex scenarios where we perhaps will have to understand the sexual violence and gender-based violence directed against women, but also understand the larger caste patriarchy, majoritarian violence that we are now embedded in. Our consumption of violence, our societal toleration of violence is presently and has been of a very high order. We are part of a society where discrimination and inequality is embedded in our homes, in our lives. And to constantly abstract sexual violence and imagine that it will be wished away, because occasionally we will express anger. That also is expressed in a way which is quite distorted and manipulated at times, will not solve the problem. In this country, in our homes, in society at large, we do not talk about equality. We do not have any understanding of respect for each other as a human being. Women are not considered as persons. Therefore, they are available for whatever. And I think now with technology and social media, there is a collective voyeurism and a consumption of violence and even forensic evidence as pornography taking place.
Let me first focus on some of the horrifying facts that I think will astound the audience. They're really quite unbelievable. To start with, even in Bengal today, after the horrible RG Kar hospital tragedy, molestations and rapes are continuing to happen. And they're not just happening in the state, they're still happening in hospitals. So alongside massive protests on the streets of Calcutta, where hundreds of thousands, if not millions, are coming out to protest, rapes are side by side in the city's hospitals continuing. How do we even begin to explain that?
I think it's important to understand, as the protests were going on, there was an incident of an ambulance that was reported, where a woman taking her husband for medical treatment in an ambulance was molested. When she resisted, the driver and his aide threw her out, removed the oxygen from the husband, threw him out, the husband died. This is happening within a fortnight, 20 days of the RG Kar incident and protest. So what is happening in these protests? What are we saying? What are we doing? How are we exceptionalizing and externalizing this violence? There is a continuum that takes place in the conversation in society. The continuum starts with telling women to compromise, to molestation, to sexual harassment, to domestic violence, to all manner of violence and abuse that they suffer inside the home and outside. Everybody from the police station to the uncle and the grandfather tells you to compromise, not take it forward. Then you have this public scenario where there is a baying for death sentence, that this man must be hanged. And now you have a calendar for the death penalty being put out by no less than the political leadership. So we have exceptionalized that it is this one beast amongst us all who needs to be hanged, and we did hang 4 men in March 2020. And the rest of the conversation does not need to take place. Let me just ask a simple question. In these protests taking place, whether in Calcutta or anywhere else in the country, it's not peculiar to Calcutta or Bengal. Should we ask the question about marital rape? What will be the response? What is it that we are protesting against? What is the objection against? We are living in a deeply violent and masculine society today, and we are not willing to question that.
You know, sometimes the facts that are presented to us in our papers are so shocking, so horrifying, that one simply doesn't know how to respond to them. For example, grandmothers of 90 and little babies of 3 months have been raped. In Kota last week, a 20-year-old man raped his mother. And as you said a moment ago, in UP, women have been molested in ambulances. It happened in Bengal, it's happened in UP. It seems to happen continually. And I want to ask once again, what is it that leads Indian men to behave like beasts? It's only a beast that would rape a 90-year-old woman or a 3-month-old baby. It's a monster who would rape his own mother. What makes men behave like this?
I think our society is actually feeding these. I wish to call anybody a monster or a beast. I would say we are actually creating this in our society. And when we say monster, again, we tend to exceptionalize. And I'm saying, let's accept that this is what is happening in society. For instance, there was recently an incident from Ujjain about making a video. Videos of mob lynching have gone out. Videos of people beating another person, maybe just on the basis of an identity, are circulated. Videos are the new trophy. Similarly, now you circulate videos of rape. That is captured and circulated. We need to understand that as a society, we are feeding this. And there is a collective voyeurism taking place. When and where do we treat women as human beings, as equal persons, as persons in their own right? We don't do that in our families. We don't do that in our homes. So we have to, the work is very difficult. The work will take long. But today, the frightening aspect is that we are willing to abandon the project by hanging X, Y, or Z, knowing fully well it will come back to haunt us the next hour. And secondly, we don't have a political leadership that is willing to uh, at least engage with the problem. Impunity is embedded in our society. Impunity is the norm. They know that occasionally somebody is punished, and that impunity is sanctioned by society and by the legal system.
But you know, it's not just impunity. There are multiple situations where the behavior of people who are watching and filming is equally astonishing as that of those who are doing the raping. Today's papers, Monday's papers, report that in fact there's an incident of a homeless woman being raped, and there was a third person filming it, and he made the film viral. I mean, can you imagine, rather than stretch out and help and act, he was actually filming it like a voyeur and then seeking to make it public. And you're very right when you talk about the attitude of impunity that politicians seem to confer. Sagrika Ghosh, in her recent column in The Week, points out that even the people we elect, and now she's part of that tribe, she's an MP herself, have been charged with molestation and rape themselves. She says there are 151 such MPs and MLAs. Doesn't that suggest that we as a society, we as a people, have a very cavalier attitude to molestation and rape? It doesn't seem to really worry us. It may momentarily shock us and lead to anger, but by and large, society accepts and moves on.
Absolutely. And that is precisely why we are not able to even diminish the problem, forget eliminate it in our midst, because we think men are entitled. You asked, where does this come from? And I said, it's bred in the home. Men are entitled to anything and everything that they desire and wish, momentarily, to use, abuse, discard. And that is what the boy is taught in the house, what the man does in the house. And that's what you learn. And what is the counter that society is providing? Does it happen in the school, in the university? Where is that countervailing force? And yes, if in parliament we elect such people, where was the outrage when the Bilkis Bano mass rapists and mass murderers were put on remission and enlarged by
and Garland did. And Garland.
Yes. So that is what we are dealing with. We actually think violence against women, it's not an issue. This is an occasional outburst, nothing more. And it will not be sustained because you have to dismantle caste patriarchy and a majoritarian violent state. Are the people of India signing up to that?
Let's for a moment, Vrinda Grover, focus on the bizarre basis on which politicians, people who have been elected to act, actually end up making excuses for rape and molestation. Mulayam Singh Yadav once said, boys will make mistakes, as if this is just an error, don't worry about it. M.L. Khattar said, rapes happen because women don't dress decently. In other words, they're inviting rape. Even Mamata Banerjee has claimed that the media exaggerates rape cases. Doesn't this suggest that those who are meant to enforce the law find excuses when it's broken rather than act? They find reasons to justify almost.
Absolutely. They don't think it's a violation. They don't think it's a crime. Let me share with you. When the 2013 Criminal Law Amendment bill was passed in Parliament, I had secured a pass and I was sitting in the gallery observing the parliamentary proceedings. And in that law, as you know, the offense of voyeurism and the offense of stalking was codified. Senior male leaders of different political parties actually stood up and said, come on, that's the way we've always made friends with women. We've chased them, we've pursued them, we've stood in markets. You're going to take away all this. How will we make friends? What will our boys do? This is what they actually believe. Of course, the law was passed unanimously in parliament because the people outside parliament were ahead of their politicians. And they had said this is a wrong and it needs to be codified as a wrong. That's why in India you need to put this in the law, because it doesn't come naturally to us that you don't go and throw acid on a woman because she is not interested in you. That sense of entitlement, that is where this is coming from. You've always had, and we are seeing that now in multiple places. You see that in the lynching, you see that in what is being done to other persons who are vulnerable in society.
Let's not focus entirely on politicians, although quite rightly we should. Let's actually broaden the discussion to look at the way large sections of Indian society are actually in denial. Khap panchayats in Haryana have claimed that rape happens because people eat chow mein. Mohan Bhagwat, the RSS chief, has gone on record to say that rapes happen in India, not in Bharat. Whilst politicians in Chhattisgarh have even claimed that rape happens because women come under inauspicious stars. Would you accept this is nothing but blatant denial?
Absolutely. And why is there a denial? What they are saying is actually so stupid at one level. But why is there a denial? One level to say this is a Western issue, because women are not supposed to have any autonomy over their own body. And therefore, that is where the denial is actually stemming from. Women are not supposed to decide who is going to have access over them and their bodies. That is what they are saying. That it does not happen in Bharat because women are a property. The whole business of Kanyadan. This is religious, societal, cultural norms which are embedded in our head. Women are today saying, I get to decide. And therefore, the aspect of bodily integrity and sexual autonomy and agency are two sides of exactly the same coin. So the people who are even protesting against rape, will they allow women to have sexual agency? The impunity will not end till we start that kind of conversation and allow women to do what they wish to do.
Let me ask you a question. As a son asking a woman, do the roots of the problem lie in the way we bring up our sons, treating them like gifts of God, if not like God himself? That itself is the problem, God himself. It should be God herself. Whilst we treat girls as inferior, as secondary, sometimes not even as full-fledged human beings, is it the way we bring up our sons that actually is the core of the problem?
It's the way we bring up our sons. It's the way everybody in the house, including the women, learn about subordination, learn about discrimination. It's about inequality, whether it is equality in terms of giving access of opportunities, or to decide who you will marry or not marry, or giving rights in property. We are not treating women as equals in our homes. Discrimination is learned in the home. Inequality is learned in the home. We have to unlearn it. Violence has its roots over there.
Is any sign of change visible on the Indian horizon? Are we bringing up our children, our male children, differently? Or are we repeating the errors that we've repeated for generations?
India is such a vast country. It lives in multiple decades, centuries simultaneously. But I actually think there is hope. And the hope lies in women, the young women, and a lot of right-minded young men. But the women are not tolerating this anymore. Whether it is taking on a politician by the wrestlers and fighting it tooth and nail, women are saying, no, we are not going to allow men in any position, whether in position of authority or on the road or in the home, to use us as sexual beings for whatever depravity, perversity. So the hope is there because women are not accepting this. And so society will change and there will be churning, and it would be good if we woke up and decided to behave like better human beings, because currently we actually come across as a deeply perverse, sick society, and the roots of it lie, as I said, in caste patriarchy. And I wonder who in the political social leadership even wishes to speak about this. But the people will bring the change.
But the sad thing is, the real hope lies in the fact that women are changing, women are standing up, women are refusing the way they are treated. Men may be changing a little, but it's not men that are making the difference. It is women that are changing that will make the difference. That's where hope for the future lies.
Absolutely. So men will have to be taught screaming and kicking, but they will have to learn because women are not going to accept this.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.
Let me ask you one more question, and this time, not just as a woman, but as a leading lawyer. Will tougher punishment for molestation and rape, including the death penalty, actually be a deterrent, or is that an emotional rather than an effective response?
I don't even think it's an emotional response. I think it's a distracting response. It's a detractive response. States encourage, political parties encourage a conversation around the death sentence because that's a spectacle that will distract the entire protest. The conversation has to be very serious. Look at the HEMA committee report. What is the HEMA committee report of Kerala film industry telling us? It is telling us there is systemic change that is required. Systemic work that has to be done systematically. Work conditions have to be, because all workplaces are gendered, all homes are gendered. We need to change society by bringing out small changes, big changes. Death penalty, on the other hand, does both distracts you from the conversation and strengthens the state. It actually contributes to a more masculine, violent state, and it enables all of us in the protest to say, oh, it was that one bad man, those four bad men, we have hung them, and now the problem is not there, although the newspaper would tell you something very different within 24 hours. So we need the tougher punishment is not the issue. The legal regime is in place. Even today, and I do a lot of these matters, women going to the police station to register a complaint, near impossible. Investigation shoddy, investigation biased. Bias runs from the police station till the courtroom. That is the work to be done. It's not about fast-track courts. It's about getting professional work done within a time frame. There is no certainty of punishment in this country. That eludes us. And the absence of certainty of punishment further encourages impunity. So this whole talk of death penalty will only lead to more violence. So who will we hang? There are now actors being named in the Malayalam film industry. Are they all to be hung? As you mentioned, that the son has raped the mother, or a husband raping the wife, or the daughter, father. Who are we hanging? What are we talking about? And will that enlarge the conversation, or will it shrink the conversation?
One last thought. The problem that we're discussing is going to be around for a long time. Slow progress may be happening, but the road to solution, the road to finding a sensible outcome is long and hard, and we've only just begun the walk.
Absolutely, but let's start the conversation. I think we are having, the chatter is wrong. The chatter is distractive. The chatter is actually feeding a voyeuristic notion here. Let's start the conversation. And I think it is taking place. We need to center stage it. We can't depend on the politicians. The leadership has failed us. We will have to take this forward.
Vrinda Grover, I thank you for starting that conversation so eloquently, so powerfully today with me. Thank you for the time you've given me. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you, Karan.
Hi, I'm Karan Thapar. Over the last few years, I hope you've been watching my program, The Interview on the Wire. During that period, I've interviewed doctors, politicians, businessmen, scientists, authors, and even the occasional Nobel laureate. For me, it's been exciting. I hope it's been enjoyable for you. But these, as you know, are tough times, and if this program is going to remain bold, independent, and sometimes even defiant, then I think we need your support. At the end of the day, it's a truism, but editorial independence is best defended by the viewers. So if you would like this program to remain the way it is, forthright, outspoken, and interesting, then would you consider supporting us? All you have to do is to click on the description at the bottom. But more than anything else, I hope you will continue to watch the interview. Your viewership means an awful lot to me.